Hey everybody, it's Brian Shannon from alphatrends.net. Today's Friday, the 18th of September, 2020. The markets were kind of, as they say, mixed here this week. The S&P lost a little bit, as did the NASDAQ. But the Russell 2000, semiconductors, and biotechs really had a big week here. So let's take a look at the action on the charts. The S&P 500 came down to the volume-weighted average price from that late June low here, and it also pierced below the rising 50-day moving average. I always make mention of the direction of the 50-day moving average because we generally want to give the benefit of the doubt to the buyers while the 50-day moving average is rising. However, using multiple time frame analysis, of course, we want to look at the direction of the 5-day moving average, which is this orange one, which we are below. We dropped back below that on Thursday after finding resistance at the month-to-date volume-weighted average price. That's that black line right here. So the market is still not giving us a reason to be a buyer. And while we look at the daily time frame and say it has potential to find support, we have zero evidence of that. So remain cautious going into next week. We want to see it get back up above here. Maybe that would lead to a failed breakdown, but really to get it back to neutral, we need to get it back above 337-ish or better. The NASDAQ also closed below its 50-day moving average. And this line right here, by the way, this blue line that you see on all the charts, is where we were 50 days ago. So that 50-day moving average will continue to rise as long as we're above these days over here. The 30-minute time frame shows us that we came right up to the volume weighted average price from this peak right here, and that was on Wednesday, and then the market fell away from there very quickly. So we're still under short or intermediate terms supply that is overwhelming the demand, and prices are coming lower. That's why we don't want to buy pullbacks. We want to buy after a pullback once that the buyers regain control. And maybe it looks something like this, and then the buyers regain control back above here. But for now, it remains, in the intermediate term at least, guilty till proven innocent. Things change quickly, of course, so continue to watch it on a short-term basis. The Russell 2000 outperformed on a relative basis, but it's still just kind of neutral here on the daily time frame. The semiconductors were lower this week, and when you look at the 30-minute time frame, they are back below the 5-day moving average, back below the volume-weighted average price from the peak. So I think that what's most likely here is, at a minimum, more time correction, possibly even deeper price correction. So be very careful with this group. The biotechs had a big week. They got back above the 50-day moving average and were able to close above there on a weekly basis. That 50-day moving average will continue to decline here over the next week or so. I think you just don't want to chase this. We saw the market move from 127 to 138. So let this thing settle down a little bit. The good news is that when you look at the volume weighted average price from the prior peak here, it had been prior resistance. Now it seems to be holding as support, and we have this prior band of resistance here trying to hold as support as well. So I don't want to buy the biotechs yet, especially after such a strong week. But if they can maybe continue to digest through time, then perhaps we will see there is an opportunity for these biotechs to maybe show some leadership. The financials, I'm tired of hearing how they're outperforming. They're not outperforming on an absolute basis. On a relative basis maybe, but they're just dead in here. They're in a range. They're stuck below this declining 200-day moving average, and the weekly chart really just looks like garbage. If you look at relative strength, okay, it's outperforming a little bit, but it's more a function of it hasn't been going down as much as the broader market over the last couple of weeks, but it doesn't make it bullish. So my advice is to stay away from those. Stocks like Apple, still stuck below the volume weighted average price from that peak, declining 5-day moving average. Wait, don't buy the pullbacks. Buy after a pullback has exhausted itself. There's no reason to be early. Stocks this week, we had a lot of good ones on Alpha Trends. It's crazy. The market is not easy by any means, but we continue to hold some of the shares of Workhorse from $20.40 per share. We have 1/3 of that position left. We had this crazy little Biotech, JNCE, and we bought this at $7.60, I think. Got stopped out of the balance right here on Thursday, I think it was, maybe Wednesday. Anyways, just some great moves out there. VVPR. I had put this on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, it's at AlphaTrends. I put it on right there. It was $7.04 when I put it on Twitter. I don't think that I have the power to move stocks. That I'm not that arrogant. I think I just had very good timing on, you know, putting this stock idea out there at that point. It got lucky that it went like that. Some people said, hey, Brian, you moved the market. Impossible. It trades 7 million shares a day. There's no way. Anyways, I provide ideas like this every single day for subscribers. We're looking at buying Walmart. This prior resistance is trying to show support at the rising 50-day moving average. The 5-day moving average is still declining. We're looking at maybe buying a small piece above this level next week. Take a look at alphatrends.net or look at me on Twitter. It's at AlphaTrends. I put out a lot of ideas. I put out Arlo. It hasn't given us a reason to purchase yet, but great looking weekly chart. And on the daily time frame, you can see it's still below the volume weighted average price from that peak. But if it can get above about $6 per share, maybe it gets going next week. Have a good weekend.